Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. It appears the real reason that Deontay Wilder has scorned the $100 million offer from DAZN is he's working on his own mega deal with Showtime. This is something his manager has revealed to ESPN, so a deal that would rival the one that he's had from DAZN. So we're talking 3 fights, somewhere around $100 million plus. So I'll get to the comments from Shelly Finkel, he's made them to ESPN, and then a few thoughts, because they're talking about Anthony Joshua not being involved in those 3 fights. And if that were to be the case, I just can't see how it stacks up. Is this actually credible that they could do a 3-fight deal and pay him $100 million or more, so over $30 million a fight, and Anthony Joshua not be involved? I can't see it. But we'll talk about it, so buckle in. Let's go. So Shelly Finkel talking to ESPN. So it notes here, Finkel told ESPN they are discussing a 3-fight deal with Showtime. While he declined to give the value, he said Wilder would make as much or more than he would have made under the DAZN deal, and that is without a fight against Joshua. Finkel also said that if the Showtime deal is finalized, it wouldn't prevent a Joshua fight or Fury rematch on other platforms. Deontay is not locked into anyone because he would have outs, and then it's bracketed in the deal, said Finkel, adding that he is also still talking to Fury's management company, MTK Global, about a possible Fury rematch later this year. So that was Shelly Finkel talking to ESPN, reported by Dan Raphael there. So we're talking about 3 fights on some sort of Showtime deal. They're talking money similar or better to DAZN, so $100 million US or more. So what we're talking, $35 million or so, or $40 million per fight. There was a 4-fight deal from DAZN for $120 million apparently. So you're basically talking $30, $35, $40 million per fight. $100 million, we'll just call it that anyway. So a similar deal to DAZN. On the face of it, just doesn't seem credible to me. They're saying that Anthony Joshua would not be part of that deal. And without Anthony Joshua, I just can't see how the money adds up. I just can't see how they make that work. Because you might have seen there that they're talking about Tyson Fury, that they're saying he would be potentially one guy that they would look to have a fight with, but there is no guarantees there. And even with Tyson Fury, it's what, 1 fight? Maybe 2, and they were talking $20 million for the rematch purse. This was just a month or 2 ago when they were looking to make that fight. Is that going to grow to $30 or $40 million by September? Well, you be the judge of that. But even then, would there be a 3rd fight? I guess there would be some scope for that, because if Fury and Wilder do rematch now, it's not ordered, it would be a voluntary. So if Deontay Wilder did lose his belt, he could challenge Fury again to get it back. So, there is some permutations here, but on the face of it, it just doesn't seem credible at all. Because remember, Showtime, if they're stumping up $100 million, and this is what we'll call it, they have to actually have a return on the investment. So they have to generate as much money as they're putting in to make a profit. They're not just going to throw good money after bad in the hope that they can just keep Deontay Wilder for loyalty purposes, because business doesn't work that way. Sure, they've been talking lovey-dovey on air about loyalty, Wilder's sense of loyalty, and Stephen Espinoza crediting him for that, and there's going to be a fight with Brazil now, and that forever long that he's with Showtime, that's sort of going to be a lucrative arrangement. They'll be guaranteeing him financial success for a long, long time, as he put it. But really, Showtime is part of a bigger beast. It's a business. The one that Showtime Boxing is in, Stephen Espinoza's area, which is, Showtime Sports, or, it's a broader unit than just boxing. It's part of a bigger, beast that's part of an even bigger beast that is CBS. They're business units that are trying to make money. They're not looking to run at a loss. So if they're going to pay him all this money, they have to have a guarantee. They have to basically have it on lock that they're somehow going to recoup their costs and get a return on an investment here. And without Anthony Joshua, is that really going to be possible? 3 fights with who? Because Tyson Fury is no guarantee either. Because ESPN, they have exclusive rights over Tyson Fury. They will want him on their platform. They will want any Wilder fight on their platform. They're not going to, from what I can see, give up millions and millions of dollars, leave it on the table to do some sort of joint venture with Showtime. I just can't see it. If they can't get Deontay Wilder next after this Dominic Breazeale fight, after, Fury has his interim fight as well, if they can't sort of get the terms that they're looking for, they'll probably just move on and market this whole Tyson Fury as the lineal champion. They'll go after some of the bigger names in the division that are potentially gettable on a one-off basis, like potentially Dillian Whyte. Maybe they will wheel out Kubrat Pulev, who potentially could be overpaid for a title shot, but harder to see that one. They will look to go after some names to keep feeding to Fury, to have him in what are seen as relatively big fights. But I just can't see them ceding to Deontay Wilder, Shelly Finkel, Al Heyman, and Showtime this early in Fury's deal with them. Maybe at the back end, in a couple of years when he's on the last fight or two of his deal, because he's going to have at least 5 fights in a multi-year arrangement with ESPN and Top Rank. But if push comes to shove later this year, they're not going to want to divvy the pie so much to give Showtime as big a cut as they will no doubt have if they're sharing the rights to this and it's the pay-per-view is on both. I just can't see it. So even with Fury in there, it seems a little bit doubtful that it'd be $100 million over 3 fights. But without him there, it just seems completely implausible. And there's no guarantees it will happen with Fury. But if we look at the other options out there, what is there that would generate $100 million for Deontay Wilder? Because they would want a return on their investment, so it would have to be pay-per-view every single fight if they signed a deal that big with Wilder. Where is the money coming from to actually pay the guy? They would have to have relatively big pay-per-view sales against big-name fighters to generate the money required for everyone to come out, on the right side of the ledger. Because if they don't, Showtime will go way backwards. They will be, and this is the thing. We don't know from these discussions, is this all guaranteed money? Because he talked about, having outs and other bits and pieces. But just sort of saying a high level, 3 fights, $100 million deal with Showtime, the devil is really in the detail. Because is that all guaranteed? Are they just going to guarantee him that? But what happened to, not wanting to lock himself into any TV right arrangements? Wanting to be the free agent? Because even though they're saying there's some outs there, the expectation is that all of his fights are going to be on Showtime in some capacity. So it says there it wouldn't prevent a Joshua or Fury rematch on other platforms. And the rub there will be, it won't just be, you can leave Showtime for a fight. It might be that it's sort of simulcast on 2 different platforms. And there is some precedent for that, being on HBO and Showtime big fights before. But with this new era, with Top Rank really sort of putting on a power play with ESPN, especially in the heavyweight division, are they really going to want to give Showtime any quarter here? They want to give them any heads up, because after all, if they can drown them and put them out of the game, they will try. And Stephen Espinoza said that Showtime has the best boxing month in, month out. And I think patently this year, the first couple of months has sort of proved that they don't. I think between the content partners, Fox has been putting on better cards than Showtime. Showtime hasn't had a lot of big-time cards so far. And some of the ones that they've been okay. But I think Fox has put on a better product so far. And Fox is probably where it's going to be at, moving forward with PBC. But Showtime is obviously clinging on here. And we're hearing $100 million for Deontay Wilder. A 3-fight deal with Showtime is in the works. But those other options that are out there. We know Deontay Wilder has talked about a Luis Ortiz rematch. If that was on pay-per-view, what's that going to do? If a Tyson Fury fight with Deontay Wilder the first time, if that can only sort of get just over 300,000, somewhere between 325, 350,000, in the ballpark there, what is a Luis Ortiz fight going to do? I would hazard a guess and say it would do less. Luis Ortiz is not great in the promotional sense of promoting fights. He doesn't speak English, and that actually does, and I know some people get bent out of shape about this, but Fury in his mouth was a big part of selling that first fight. Deontay Wilder can't do all the promotional work on social media and in press conferences just by himself. The whole Ortiz having a translator thing, it's not going to cut it. No one can tell me that a Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder rematch is going to do more than Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Just can't see it. And outside of that, who else is there? Adam Kovnatsky, he's a guy that is in the PBC stable, 1 or 2 fights away from a title. I mean, that's probably a similar situation. Is that going to do any more than the Tyson Fury fight? Probably not. They would probably get a decent crowd to the Barclays if they held it there, but it's not going to do better numbers than the Fury fight. So all these fights that I can sort of see, potentially in the works, even if you looked at other guys further afield, say a Joseph Parker, for example, or who else have we got in the WBC rankings there? You have Oscar Rivas, you've got Dillian White. That one there, that could be a situation where the money may stack up, especially because of the UK pay-per-view. But Dillian White's got expectations about what he wants to get paid. So is there enough money in the pot, and is there enough interest to really generate anything more than the Fury fight? Because without these big names, because he needs a dance partner like Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury, or even to a lesser extent Dillian White because of his pull in the UK, because that would be on pay-per-view in the United Kingdom, I can't see what sort of pay-per-views Deontay Wilder would be having that would generate enough revenue to make back enough money to pay him first and foremost, let alone make sure that the broadcasters and everyone else with their hand out is going to get theirs as well. So I can't see that this is actually a credible statement from Shelly Finkel. Tyson Fury, if he was to have all 3 fights against Tyson Fury, well then maybe they could get close to $100 million. But I think after a second fight, it's debatable whether we'd want to see a third. I certainly wouldn't want to see 3 fights in a row against Tyson Fury. What do you make of this? For me, it just feels like it's reaching. It's kind of, put out there potentially as we've got this in the works, but is it really credible? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.